How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to Start or Sit, the tight end edition for Week 10 here. And look, tight ends it's weird, it's gross. You're just trying to guess basically at who's going to score a touchdown. If you guess wrong, well, your take's wrong, and that's really what it is. So keep that in mind as we go through this. We got some fringe guys. We're not going to be throwing out the George Kittles, Travis Kelce's of the world. We got some other guys here, some ascending tight ends, and some on the decline, it looks like. Before we get into it, though, remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel, guys. Drop a like, and add questions, whatever else you got in comments, all that good stuff. Follow me over on Twitter at Justin_14P. All righty, let's get into it. Number one on the list, it's Dan Arnold versus the Indianapolis Colts. And I say tight end one as in a top 12 tight end, not the tight end one. We got tight end ones and sits. You're not flexing any of these guys. If you are, you already lost. But Dan Arnold versus Indy is I think probably a top 12 tight end. Again, I don't know if he gets much higher, but Indy is not good against the tight end at all. That's really where they've been just kind of getting their asses kicked. And Dan Arnold, the last 2 weeks, he's been good. You're looking at 8.5 targets a game the last 2 weeks. Again, those are the 2 games after the bye week. He's seen 5 targets each of his last 4 games. And as a tight end, that's great. And Indy, so let me explain how this works. They are seeing they're allowing 92% more points than a tight end typically scores each week. So if Dan Arnold averages 10 points a game against Indy, theoretically, he would be scoring 19.2 points a game. That is astronomical. That is almost unheard of. So Dan Arnold versus Indy, this is where he really has a chance to blow up for a 20-plus point game. That is in his range of outcomes because of how bad Indianapolis has been against tight ends. And you wouldn't think it with Myers-Leonard there, but that hasn't been the case. So Dan Arnold, if he's out on waivers, he is a very, very viable streaming tight end for you. I don't know if he's a weekly starter yet, but especially in this matchup, he needs to be in your lineups. All right, moving on. We got Tyler Higbee versus the San Francisco 49ers. He's coming in as a sit, and the season has been fine. That is the best way you can put Tyler Higbee's season. It has been perfectly average. He's currently tight end 14 on the year. He's got a couple touchdowns, 3 games in double digits. Everything else is, 5 to 9 points. He's just not a very exciting option. He doesn't have the ceiling or the upside someone like Dan Arnold has. So if you're looking at Tyler Higbee, I don't really want to play him. I'm going to take Dan Arnold specifically over Tyler Higbee every day of the week right now. I'll take Zach Ertz over him. Even without Kyler Murray, I prefer that. So Tyler Higbee, if you have him, again, middle of the road player, middle of the road matchup. Obviously, if he scores, great, throw everything I said out the window. But he's only got 2 touchdowns on the season. I don't really expect him to find the end zone. That's been Cooper Kupp's job. That's been Darrell Henderson, Sony Michel, pretty much everybody but Tyler Higbee. So if you have Higbee, you can probably drop him and try to stream somebody else. Maybe you got lucky and you got Pat Freiermuth from Pittsburgh. Again, he's playing Detroit this week, and how can you deny it? He's a top 10 tight end no matter what at this point. He is a guy, you're going to add him off of waivers if you haven't done it already. Again, when this comes out, waivers have already run. You may have missed him. If you were lucky enough to get him, he's an auto start. I don't care if Eric Ebron's coming back. Freiermuth's got 3 touchdowns in his last 3 games. Obviously, the 2 touchdown game against my Chicago Bears. And he's just been good. They said it on the broadcast even. He reminds everybody of Heath Miller. And that's exactly who he reminds me of. Funny enough, he has been great. Double digits each of his last 3 games. You're looking at 20 targets over 3 weeks. He just had his breakout game. Chase Claypool's hurt. Big Ben sucks and can't throw the ball. Everything kind of fits for Freiermuth to continue this kind of ascension to a top 10 tight end. And I think he's here to stay. So if you got him, he's a weekly starter. Kudos to you for picking him up. You are set probably for the rest of the season. And to close us out, We got Jared Cook here versus Minnesota. And Jared Cook is coming off of a fine game, 4 catches, just over 40 yards in what should have been a much better game. Minnesota is not a crazy difficult matchup. They are in the bottom 10 in terms of points allowed, but with tight ends, you're kind of all talking about the same thing in that middle tier. But Jared Cook, the thing to pay attention to is he just played a season low on snaps, under 50% for the first time this year. He hasn't been great. The average depth of the target is fine. Some red zone work is nice. He just hasn't been consistent. So I'm going to go away from Jared Cook here again. I'll play Dan Arnold. I'll play Freiermuth over Jared Cook. He's still owned in like 60% of leagues, being started right now in 45, and I think that's too high. Again, if he finds the end zone, he pays off. We all know that. I don't think it happens this week against Minnesota. All right, guys. Short, sweet, to the point. As always, subscribe to the YouTube. Again, like we said up top, like the video if you liked it. Don't dislike it. Drop comments, questions, whatever you have. Follow me over on Twitter at Justin_14P. All right, guys, that's all I got. As always, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.